Welcome to my channel. In today's episode, I'm going to cover two of the new Lightroom Classic updates with you, denoise and masking. Let's get started. So I am excited to share these new updates with you in Lightroom Classic. I'm in Lightroom Classic, but these updates also work in Lightroom. If you've not done your updates yet, go to the Help menu and you can be sure to click on Updates, and then you'll have to close out of the program to run the updates. But this update button will take you to your Adobe update panel. All right, so the first and most exciting update is the Denoise feature. This is a brand new feature. It is AI-based denoise. And I have to tell you, it works fantastically. I'm very, very excited about it. I love that it's now incorporated into your Lightroom workflow. So previously you would go to detail and you had the luminance and the color noise reduction. You still have those available, so you can click that drop down and there they are. I'm going to slide this color one over so that we don't have that impacted at all in this image. But now we have this new denoise button. Now, a couple things to note about this option. One, it only currently works with certain image file types. So it does not work with cell phone files, maybe from your Apple phone that you bring into Lightroom. It does not work with JPEGs. So it primarily works with raw files. Now, if you try to use it on an image that it does not support, you will get an error message. But know that Lightroom is working to update that and will have this feature available for other image types in the very near future. So for now, primarily try this out on raw images. Now, the other thing to note about this is when you process the denoise, it is going to make a digital copy, a DNG file of your image. So those two images will be stacked together. Now that may be one thing that's a little tricky for you because all your other edits to the image will be in your original file and then it's going to make a digital copy. So I'll show you how that works in just a second. So how will I be using this new feature? I do not shoot a lot of high ISO images where I would have a lot of noise. However, I do have some older images that I know have noise in them, like this image that we're going to use today. I also often shoot on black. And when you shoot on black, a lot of times if you're not shooting at a high ISO, which this image was shot at, it was shot at 800, you will get noise, especially if you're shooting in a dark setting. Or a lot of times out in the garden, I'll shoot in a shaded area and I may need to raise my ISO for that. And sometimes you just get some natural noise in your image. So I'm going to walk you through these images so that you can see how incredible this new program is, the denoise feature. Okay, so let's go back to this original image. And it was shot at ISO 800. This was an image shot, goodness, I think over maybe 10 years ago and at least 6 years ago. And it was a very hazy morning, but I shot it at 800 and only at f8. And so you can see I've never used this image, a lot of noise. And if you're not familiar with what noise looks like in your image, it's a lot of pixelation. So the colors don't look true and it's just a little bit pixelated. One way to help you see if you have noise is to really brighten your image and you can see all this, it's kind of like noise and pixelation. So I'm going to take my brightness back down a little bit. What we want to do is come over and we are going to go back up to the detail section and we're going to click denoise. Now it will pop up this enhanced preview option for you. And what's great is you can slide it around to a section where you can really see the noise. So this is with it enhanced and this is before. Look at the difference. Let's come over here to the water. Let me come over to that boat and I'll let you see in this water. Look at all that and look at it enhanced. So it's just getting rid of all of that noise, which was a lot in this image. And now I actually can use this image and really like it. So I have the denoise all the way at 100. And as I've been playing with this, I like using it at full 100%. Now, if you have an image where you want to keep some of the grain and maybe the grit in the image and the noise, you can always drop this to say 50%. It's going to tell you that it's going to create a stack. You can also turn that off if you don't want it to be stacked. So it's up to you. Some people like to have the original stacked with this new file. I'm going to turn it off because I like to have them separate. And it's telling me that it's only going to take about 30 seconds to process. So let's click Enhance and let's see the magic unfold. So you'll see it processing up here in the upper left corner. And again, it's going to give us a brand new digital copy of our file. Now, this AI Denoise is an AI-based technology and it is non-destructive to your image. So it's not going to cause further problems. Now, I have compared this Denoise to other Denoise programs that I use like Topaz, Luminar's Neo, and it is extremely comparable. So I love that it's now in my Lightroom workflow and I don't have to go outside to other programs. All right, so now we've got this new file, and if we go to our history, we can see right here that our history is the enhanced version, and it tells us the time. Now we could continue editing this image. You can also do this denoise step as your final step, and then you know that this is your image that's final, all set and ready to go. So let's look at the difference in the before image. So let's get over to our before image. Here you go. You can see, I'm going to zoom in again. You can see all that noise there. And now we can go to our denoise image. Look at the difference. Really incredible. So again, before, look at the sky, all that kind of noise in there. And now look how gorgeous and smoothed out, and all of that noise has been removed. So I would highly encourage you to go back through some of your older images. Even if you'd already edited them and you know they've got a little bit of noise, give this a shot. I think you're going to be really, really excited about it. So let's look at another example. I'm going to go to a flower image. Now this is an image that's also a little bit older, and it was shot at ISO 800. And this was an image that I shot before I used any flash. And so I'll show you the image. Let's go to the import. The image was a little dark, so I was shooting this with some natural light. It's at ISO 800, and there is noise all around the edges, especially. So I've made my initial edits to the image. So I went in and opened up the highlights, the shadows, a little exposure, and that's all I've basically done to the image. But I notice all this noise around the edges, especially, and within the color. So let's see what Denoise does to this image. So again, it's going to process, it's going to load. We can see the enhanced. Look at the difference on that petal. It's really fun to try this with an image to just see the difference, because sometimes to the naked eye, you don't notice the noise. Again, I'm going to keep it at 100%. Now, if we come over to this bottom corner of the image and we do without and with, I'm not sure that you're going to be able to see that, but look at this leaf. Look at before and look at after. I mean, it's pretty amazing. All right, so I'm going to plug and hit the enhance button, and we're going to let this one run, and we'll see what an awesome job it does. So it's processing, and I told it not to create a stack. If you like to work in stacks, you can mark that. I like to keep my images where I can see them all in my timeline below. So I'm going to keep it down here, and it's almost through processing. And once this is done, we'll see the results, and then I want to talk to you about the second update that I love that Lightroom has added. All right, so we now have our enhanced image, and what a difference I already can tell in the petals. Much, much better. Let's go look at the original. This was the original, And if I zoom in, you can see all that noise there. And originally, I may not have noticed this. Look at all that noise. Now let's go back over, and I don't see any in these petals. They look beautiful and authentic, and look at the stem. It's fantastic. All that noise is gone. So this was before. Look at the noise. And now the after. So it just deleted it. It did just a great job. All right, so at this point, I have this new enhanced file, and I want to continue to make a few edits with it. So I want to show you my second favorite new update. So we've been using and loving the mask tools that are here in Lightroom. So what I want to do is enhance this background. It's not completely black all the way around the edges, and I just want to make sure it's really tack sharp. So the first thing I'm going to do is select my background, and Lightroom does a great job. Now it also selected the stem. So what I'm going to do is subtract. I'm going to do color range. Let's get rid of the overlay, and I am going to subtract from it the stem. And you can hold the shift key and we can select another area. And I'm just going to get that stem. And I'm going to refine it because I just really want that stem deleted. Okay, that's going to work well enough for what I want to show you. So now when we go to our mask, look what's been added. The tone curve. I am so excited. If you watch any of my videos, you know that I love using the tone curve. And so now that is part of the masking options. So there's several ways I can enhance this background, but one of my favorites is to use the tone curve on my images. So we can come down to the shadows and I can darken them just on this background area. I could also shift the blacks if I wanted to darken those. And then I can still go back to subtract, and I think I'll try the objects tool this time. I want to subtract this from this stem. And sometimes you have to try a couple methods. There we go. That did a great job. All right, so if I show you now, we can do, this was before. You can see these edges are a little bit, let me zoom in. Not quite as black as I want. And now we've got it nice and crisp around the edges. So let me show you the same feature with another image. I think this one will look even better for you. So this is an image I have not done denoise on yet, but I want to just show you the masking options. So let's create a new mask, and I'm going to select the background. And it did a really nice job with this one. So now what I want to do is come down, I'm going to remove the overlay, and I just want to darken the midtones in this image. I want this image to have a really kind of moody look. So I'm going to go to the center point of my tone curve, and I'm just going to drag down this area, which is the midtones. So you can do as little as you like. This is also a technique where you could actually bump if you wanted to brighten your image. But I'm just going to bring it down just a little bit. So this is just a fantastic option to come in and be able to manipulate your tone curve, your histogram rather, customize it right here using the tone curve. I have several videos on tone curve, so check those out. I'll link them in the description. If you're unfamiliar with using it, I highly encourage you to learn the tone curve and use it to make those final tweaks to your image. So this is going to allow you to see the before and the after. And what a difference just that little modification made with the mask right here and the tone curve. So I am really excited that this feature is here. All right, so those are my two favorite updates. There are some additional mask updates if you mask and you use select people. So if you select people, there are some bearded options and some other facial options that are available. You can read about those on the Adobe site. There are also some preset options to the adaptive, and you've got some additional adaptive presets for portraits, different skin tones that you can check out as well. So I hope you've enjoyed this. Let's wrap with one more denoise option for you. This is an image that on first glance doesn't appear to have too much noise, but as you zoom in, you can really see it. So what I'm going to do is go back to the basic panel. I'm going to scroll down, click denoise. Again, this was a really old image, and I'm just going to show you what it's going to do. Let's look at this water. This is before, and that's after. I'm doing it at 100%. I'm going to click enhance, and let's wrap with looking at the difference in this image. I am so excited to play with this with some older images that I've really never been able to use. And I think it's going to be really fun to go back and work with those. And also to be able to consider shooting at higher ISOs from time to time, knowing that we have this easy feature now right here in your workflow to adapt. All right, so it's going to give us, let me get out of these presets so we can see. This is the enhanced image. Wow, I can immediately see a difference. Look at the sky. I mean, it looks like I shot this with my newer camera with a low ISO. Let's look at the before. I'm going to zoom in for you. Look at how pixelated. And now we can come over to the after image and look at the difference in the sky. This is before. Let's look at the water. Look at all of that and the people. And now we'll come over to the after and look at them. No noise in the water. So I'm loving this feature. Can't wait to go back and explore some of my older images and some of my images that I know probably have some noise in them. I hope that you'll do your updates. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks, everybody.